Hi, I'm Ava Honey, and this is my Macbeth video review assignment. As for three words that would sum up my reaction of the play, it would definitely be intriguing, dark, and suspenseful. Uh, Next, onto the playwright and language section. As opposed to reading the play on just in the book, seeing it on the screen was definitely a lot easier to follow. I found that having the visuals and having actual actors and actresses saying it and kind of going through the motions with props and costuming and lighting and stuff, it definitely was a lot easier for me to understand the language as opposed to just me reading it in the book. And as for a specific scene, I found that the sleepwalking scene was especially or a little bit easier to follow than just reading it. We talk about this scene a lot, or we have talked about it a lot in the past, and I felt that seeing a visual of it definitely gave me a better understanding of what was going on within the play, as opposed to just like me reading it in the play in like the playbook. And next for the director and casting section, overall I really did think the cast worked well as an ensemble with the circumstances that they were in. Obviously, they were not all together, and they didn't have the ability to kind of interact with each other as you usually would on a stage. But I think there's an example when the witches were passing around a prop. I thought that was really, really interesting, and I thought that they were able to execute that very well as they would kind of make like slight glances or talk to certain people, like look towards them, which made it feel like they were kind of better, like together and closer. And as for the diversity of the cast racially, I don't think it was as diverse as it could have been. It was not as diverse as a lot of other plays I've seen. Um, and as for gender, I think the cross casting was very good. For example, they had men playing witches, and there was a female playing Banquo, which I really enjoyed, and I thought that was pretty really progressive and interesting. Now, for an example of an actor, I chose Gabriel Pinciotti, who played Macbeth himself. I thought he did a really good job of encapsulating Macbeth's kind of journey towards going mad, essentially. Uh, a specific scene that I thought he did really well was the dinner scene when Macbeth is seeing Banquo's ghost. He used his voice, the levels of his voice, like he raised it and lowered it, and used his body kind of going further away and closer to the camera to kind of show his hysteria and emotions and kind of uh, show just the start of his downfall and his breakdown, which was definitely intriguing. And I felt it almost startled me when he started to raise his voice, which I thought was really good. It definitely kept me encapsulated and kind of intrigued by what was going on. As for the designers, I'm going to be discussing the costume designers. I think it was really hard in the circumstance, obviously, since you're only seeing their shoulders up, to kind of differentiate the characters. And I thought that the costume designer did a really good job of using certain tiny little details, such as like necklaces or like armor or makeup, to kind of differentiate between characters and show like the time period, because since Macbeth does take place in the past, you had to dress them a certain way. And one specific choice is the makeup from the witches. The witches in the beginning and whenever they're talking, they have lots of like black makeup and different various shapes around their face, which was something that I found really intriguing. It definitely brought the dark and gloomy kind of scary and magical essence to what the witches are, and it created a lot of mystery and definitely was a good choice by the set slash or the costume slash makeup artist. And now for the playmakers, I think that they worked really well together. I feel like seeing them, although they were not all together, they were definitely in the same world. Just especially the playmakers and just all the themes going along with the play, with the music and the background and the costumes. I think they all held together really well, and I think they really showed kind of a unified cast, even though they couldn't really be unified on the stage. And the playmakers overall, I think they wanted me to think about and feel was just they wanted you to kind of be encapsulated by the darkness and the drama of the whole play. They created dark settings slash vibes throughout, like the makeup, the hair, the like the setting, like how the actors portray their roles, and they used that to kind of just pull you in and make you almost feel the darkness, if that makes sense. And lastly, just for parting thoughts, I thought being virtual was a very different experience that I'd never really seen before. I have been to a few Broadway plays and like my school productions, and I thought I it was definitely a different vibe you got. Although I definitely do think it was a good job. They did a really good job. Sometimes it was like some scenes were a little harder to kind of follow just because they weren't able to kind of walk around a stage, or there wasn't like props, or they weren't able to interact as they should have normally if we were just on like a normal stage. But I do think that the cast did a really great job of kind of making the best out of this situation and using it to their advantage. uh, Thank you.